Hey guys, Kelly Walker Slaughter here, your host of Warren First 931. And we are live at our first ever, the inaugural kickoff of our Shake and Howdy 2024. Now, with me, we have a ton of the candidates here that are actually going to be on the ballot for the upcoming primary election for August the 1st. But early voting actually does start, and Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be on July the 12th. Correct?
Yes, that's tomorrow.
That starts tomorrow. So this is kind of end of the, if you have not got to talk to your candidates or you want to meet some of the new candidates that you haven't got to, this is the time you can do it. And we are live actually at the detention at the elementary here in Morrison. So with that said, first and foremost, because this is a very non-formal come and go event, and I got with me Jeff McGee. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And he is running for property assessor, correct?
Yes.
And with that said, tell everybody who you are, give a little bio of yourself right fast.
Well, my name's Jeff McGee. I grew up in the Liberal Midway area, farming pretty much my whole younger life. And then ever since then, I've had 2 or 3 different jobs and I've worked with the public. Right now, I work for IMI.
Okay.
I'm actually on a break right now.
That's why I said, don't leave. I wanted you on. Because a lot of these people, I wanted to stress this out, is the reason I've done it from 12 to 3 is because a lot of these people that are running against is still working,
right?
Every day. And so this is when I want to catch you on your lunch break.
Yeah.
So with that said, what made you first decide to run for property assessor?
Well, I ran 4 years ago.
Okay.
I didn't lose by a lot.
Yeah.
I want to get out there and where the public has a better experience and they know their property assessor.
Yeah.
I feel like right now they're not familiar with our current one.
Yeah.
I want to be more out in the public because I've worked with the public for at least 30 years. I know the geographic area of our county. I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just want to make the experience better for them.
Make a better life.
Because with the job, I don't believe my opponent has done a bad job at all because she follows the state rules like you're supposed to.
Right.
But there are a personal touch that I believe is missing.
I got you. I totally understand. So, and of course, because I know we're on a time crunch, but what makes you qualified for this position?
Well, just by knowing the geographic area of our county and knowing the importance of the value and the way people are and the way they think around here.
Yeah.
And try to make it fair.
Right.
For everybody, not just the people with a lot of property or with a lot of money, but fair for everyone.
Gotcha.
And I hope that once I get in there, I can see some things that hopefully I can correct.
Yeah, and implement a new way.
Yes.
I got you. So if anybody needs to follow you on any social media outlet, how can they follow you?
Well, then follow me on Facebook.
Okay.
And just Jeff T. McGee.
Okay.
My email address is jmcgeep@gmail.com.
Okay.
And that's about the only social media that I'm on.
I gotcha. So, and again, is there any other events coming up that you're going to be a part of that people can meet you?
Tonight from 5 to 7 at the farmers market, we're having an ice cream get together. The ice cream is free to anyone who wants to come. It's a kickoff for early voting for the Republican Party.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. They're doing an ice cream social. Yeah, that's right. 5 to 7.
From 5 to 7. And then after that, I'll be up at the early voting precinct, for whenever I can be there. I can't be there all the time.
Right. I understand. And like we talked to Susie Davenport yesterday, early voting kicks off on Friday, the 12th, and it's going to go all the way to, I believe, the 27th or the 28th. Is it 27th?
The 27th, yes.
And then
the 12th to the 27th.
Right now, you can vote at the administrative building, which is located in, I say, the central place of Warren County. But then at the last week, you got 2 other areas you can vote at, which I want to say is not Lucky.
No,
which one is it?
It is the Centertown CIC.
Okay, thank you.
And the Marson Ruatan.
See, that's why I got to have people up here. But yeah, so you have 2 other areas at the last week. So there's no excuse. If you need to go early vote, go do that. She also talked about absentee voting. There's a deadline for that and all that other jazz. But is there anything else you'd like to say before I let you go?
I just want to tell everybody that I would really appreciate your vote. I believe we can make a difference. I believe I can make a difference. And I'll give me a chance. I'll prove it to you.
There you go. And that is Jeff McGee
Yes.
running for property assessor. Well, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, Kelly.
I'm glad you showed. I was like, I missed him at the Southern Standard event.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had a previous engagement.
And you just couldn't make
I
it.
couldn't make it.
That's all right. But you got this one.
I did.
I'm
I sure
glad
did.
you got
I wanted to make sure I've started coming because I've heard a little bit of negativity, but even my phone number will be out in the paper tomorrow. If anybody wants to call me, like they're more than welcome to give me a call and ask me anything or talk about whatever you want to.
There you go. There you go. Everybody flood his phone tomorrow.
Do that. Phone. Yes.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Coming up on the show, we're going to have some more guests coming up. I got to go grab some more. So stick around. I'll have them up here shortly.
What do you think? I get nervous.
All right. You can put on your headset. Stay on the edge of my seat today. Believe the same. Right. So you can hold this one.
Okay.
All right, guys. Next up, of course, we have the property assessor currently in her position, Miss Beth Martin Woodley.
No, Woodley Martin.
Woodley Martin.
Yes.
You're just like me. I'm trying to think. I got 3 last names.
I understand.
But with that said, you are currently in the position right now. And and if anybody that doesn't know you, that just maybe moved here, that's coming up to vote, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am Beth Woodley Martin, the incumbent of assessor of property. I have been the assessor for the past 3 terms for 12 years. I worked under previous administration for 5.5 years.
Okay.
And so I have a total of 17.5 years of experience.
Yes.
So do you want me to tell a little about my family?
Yes, girl.
Okay. So I am
Spill the
married
tea.
I am married to Lee Martin.
Okay.
I have been for 32 years. I don't know how because I'm not quite that old yet, but
You don't look that old. No.
thank you. No, we have 2 children, Micah Martin and his fiancee, Olivia Walker.
Aw.
Maybe related.
Maybe related to a lot of walkers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our daughter Ashley and her husband Jax Price.
Okay.
And they just blessed us this past February with twins. So we have Mila and Lane.
Okay.
My parents are Alton and Kay Woodley. My mother-in-law is Carol Martin. And my brother is Jeff Woodley and his wife is Regina, who was a teacher at Bobby Ray and just retired.
Well, there you
So,
go.
yes.
I love that. So why do you love being the property assessor?
The property assessor. Well, I just like helping people.
Yeah.
And actually, would you have asked me 30 years ago if I would ever be the property assessor? I would have probably said, what in the world do they do?
Why do you think yes.
But the job became available and I went to work for Carolyn Miller, the previous assessor. And so, when she retired, a lot of the people retired with her. And so it was myself and Darren Pack and one other employee that was going to stay for like 6 more months. So Darren and I just decided, hey,
let's do this.
Let's do it. One of us has got to do it. So he said, everybody in the county, you need to be the one to run. So I decided to do it. And I love helping people.
Yeah,
You know, so
Same.
and this job is definitely about helping people.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, you talked about, you already answered one of my questions, but just to reiterate, tell everybody again, why your qualifications for this job.
so honestly, I'm basing a lot of it on my experience.
Yeah.
Integrity, honesty, dedication. If you drive by that office after hours, you will see that I'm there many nights.
Yeah.
I'm dedicated to it.
Yeah.
I know
It's
this
your
is just
child, right?
it's part of my family,
yeah.
you know. So and here's what I think. I'm dealing with somebody else's property. So I want to treat it like I would my own.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like the golden rule.
Yeah.
Treat everyone else as you would want to be treated. So that's the way I look at it. And so I dedicate a lot of my life to it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So if anybody needs to follow you, Beth, on social media, can they do that right now?
well, I don't actually have like a Facebook page or anything. I do
Oh.
have a Facebook page personally, but I don't actually have one set up for the campaign trail.
Okay. But if they need to ever catch you, can they call you at the office if they have any questions, things like that? Because like I'm going to reiterate this like a broken record, but early voting does start on the 12th.
Yes.
And it goes on to the 27th. And then the primary is on August the 1st.
Mhm.
And so if anybody has any questions between now and then, they can reach you at your office, correct?
Absolutely.
And what's the phone number there?
It is 931-473-3450.
I always try to throw a trick question, even though you've been in there forever. I never remember my phone number. So I like how you gave that look, and I'm like, she's got this.
Oh, yeah, I've got it.
But before I let you go, is there anything else you would like to tell everybody that's listening?
I would just like to thank everyone for their past support and look forward to continued support in the future.
Yeah.
And I would appreciate everyone's vote and support. And as you said earlier, the early voting starts tomorrow, runs through the 27th. So take advantage of that. I always say you never know what could happen on August 1st that you might not be able to get out there. So it's available. And actually, I think the second week of early voting, they will be open in Morrison and
the last
Centertown.
week, the last week of voting, I believe it is Morrison and Centertown. We just talked about that. Yeah. So if you don't have opportunities to take advantage of going to the administrative building, where is that? That's also where your office is located, correct?
Yes.
But if you can't get there, you can always go to the Morrison or Centertown CIC.
Yes.
So, but again, if you have any questions, you can, like I said, contact Beth at her office. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly, for having us here.
Anytime.
And thank you, everyone, for your past support. And I appreciate your continued support.
There you go. And you're done.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with some more folks. Stick around. You're good. You're good. That was good.
To hang out all day.
You can.
Feel free. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna let me get posted here.
you're fine.
And
We're still live, just FYI, so you know. I'm a goober. You want me to put it on your head so you can hear you? Or are you gonna do it?
no, I'll get it.
Okay.
For anybody watching
Can listen.
can listen, yeah. Or that they know to listen.
Right.
That's
But we're
what-
going to
so-
share this later too. I'm going to share it
Okay.
as much as I can because I'm going to put everybody's information on there.
Oh, hold on.
So with me right now, and here's your microphone.
Oh,
That's the one for everybody to hear outside if they want to pay attention.
so I did need to grab this one because I was like,
did.
I know you got this one, but
Well,
I wanted to grab
breaking
that
it.
one.
I keep breaking
Oh
it.
no.
Me and Tom go way back. We radio days. So
Yes.
but with that said, I have Tom Davis. He is running for the 4th congressional seat in the House. Is that how you
Yes,
say it?
U.S. House of Representatives,
U.S. House of Representatives.
Tennessee's 4th Congressional District.
There you go. And he is running against.
Congressman Scott Desjardins is our current representative.
Okay.
He is the incumbent Republican.
Okay.
And he's on the ticket also, the ballot. So I'm challenging him in a Republican primary.
There you go.
And voting for that is early voting is the 12th through the 27th of July.
Starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. And then election day is on the 1st of August.
That's right. And with that said, Tom, we have been friends for quite some time, but for people that don't know you,
Yes.
tell everybody who you are, especially, he has been in so many wars, guys, and fought for us. Go for it. Brag about yourself, Tom.
More than some, not as many as others. But
yeah.
I served in the Army from July of 89 until April of 14. My job was 88 micros, a motor transport operator, just a kind of a cool way of saying truck driver.
Yeah.
A variety of duty positions. I was a wheeled vehicle operator, training NCO, tool room clerk. I was a squad leader, a drill sergeant, platoon sergeant, among other things.
Yeah.
I deployed in support of Operations Desert Shield, Desert Storm,
okay,
Operation Joint Forge, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom.
Such a mouthful. I
Yes.
just love your stories when you always tell us what you did.
And then, so I left the Army in 14. And I went home to Arizona and I worked there, served there for a little while as a police officer.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, we moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And have been in Warren County since then.
Yeah.
Currently live in Morrison with my wife, Cindy, and our youngest child, Nicholas.
I know. Love Cindy. Shout out Cindy.
So she might be watching. I don't know. She's working. One of us has to.
Hey, somebody's got to pay the bills, right?
That's right.
But with that said, what made you decide to run for this position? Because I know this is something that's been on your mind, because we've talked about, how government has been running for years in lengthy chats.
Yes.
But what made you decide to take the plunge this time?
So the short version is it was a calling.
Yeah.
I was called to it. So, and the way it stacked up on me was last year at our Memorial Day ceremony, I was asked by my VFW post, 5064 here in McMinnville.
Shout out.
Shout out. That's right. To be the guest speaker.
Yeah.
And so it can go a couple different ways as doing your speech.
Right.
The VFW has some canned speeches that you can give, or it's fine, you write your own.
Yeah.
I chose to write my own.
Yeah.
And kind of in that laid out some things where responsibility for the condition of our country, where responsibility is at.
Yeah.
And overwhelmingly a good response, positive response, like, yeah, okay. I think I only had one negative, like, hey, it's not a place to be.
Yeah.
And my line of thought was, how better to honor those that gave the last full measure than to point these things out and why we stand as a nation. But anyway, I was asked at the end of that event if I had ever considered going into politics. Wow. And my answer was no.
Yeah,
and
right away.
Like growing up, I want to be president,
Yeah.
But any serious consideration, no, it's a big undertaking. So anyway, kind of through the year, I had some things stack up and just kind of, looking around at the process, like, all right, I should probably be more involved.
Yeah.
And so, finally, I started looking at how I was being represented at different levels and, election cycles. And I was like, all right, here I got to, the U.S. House of Representatives and started looking at the voting record and just kind of the things how I've been represented. And I was like, okay, this is where I get in, or where I can fit in, and take a different look.
Yeah.
And Congressman Desjardins has been in the seat since 2010.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my personal opinion is 12 years is plenty.
Mm-hmm.
We each have our own opinions about
right.
it, but personally 12 years is plenty.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let's do the
try
thing.
this.
And here we are. And it's been, overwhelmingly positive response to as I meet people.
Yeah.
I'll hold that one. But I had a very probably the most I don't know what word I want to use, but like the biggest response. And it was for the positive, but just like the way the guy framed
it.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, okay.
Well, I think, yeah,
Um,
I do
so-
think, we've talked about this on Link's time. I think there should always be a time period, and
Yeah.
it always depends on, I say, the person's age and, there's circumstances that
Yeah.
need to be put in. But with that said, what makes you feel qualified for this position? I know you said you've done the research and you looked at everything,
Yeah.
but what makes you feel like you are qualified for that position now?
So the upfront answer is the Constitution.
Yeah.
It tells me I meet the requirements to serve as this, but I understand the real question.
Yes.
Is my background,
Yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with my background.
Yeah.
I have, and I get asked that, what's your background, politics,
Yeah.
and the answer to that is none. But I have been put into some very difficult situations in the Army, and even since leaving the Army, as a police officer, when I was in the academy, I was elected by my fellow recruits to be the class president.
Right.
So, and so in addition to learning a new job, now I'm herding cats.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Yeah, I know that comment.
So,
Yes.
yep.
I feel like
So-
we all have herded cats
Yeah,
before
right.
in our lifetime.
So that, and then while I was in the Army, 2 times I assumed platoon sergeant responsibilities in a theater of operation.
Yeah.
And just kind of into context, if for those that may not know, and it was two separate, like I said, once in Iraqi freedom, and the other one was enduring freedom for Afghanistan. The Iraqi freedom, that platoon, I think our largest personnel wise, we had like 55 soldiers.
Okay.
So I showed up we were based in Kuwait. So I showed up and assumed these responsibilities.
Yeah.
I had spent a week with these guys ahead of the deployment.
Yeah.
So, now I have to learn, the personality of this organization, the leaders, my subordinate leaders,
Right.
my platoon leader.
Yeah.
And same thing in Afghanistan. That one was different. I was 3 months into the deployment, and they said, "Hey, guess what? You are leaving this platoon that you trained with and put together to deploy with, and now you get to go to this other platoon
To do the same
to do it all over again."
Yeah.
And that one, they switched out myself and the platoon leader at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So just those leadership challenges there.
Yeah.
And just, I was a drill sergeant, like I said, squad leader. So a lot of leadership.
So you've been in a lot of authoritative leaders position
Yes.
where, especially in the war situations, in very high intense, think on your toes kind of situation.
Yes. So just that leadership, taking it to Washington, D.C., because I see that we have a problem within the Republican Party of holding a line.
Yeah.
We cave, and it's got to stop.
Yeah.
And I look at some of the voting records of our current representative, and I'm not super excited about it.
Yeah.
What we're hearing now currently is the current National Defense Authorization Act, which it's just the House version, so it probably means nothing.
Yeah.
Because what we will probably wind up getting is pretty similar to what we have gotten.
Yeah.
But we're hearing now, hey, we passed this thing. We got rid of all the DEI stuff, 19% pay raise, and telling us the good stuff. However, what we're not hearing is the previous National Defense Authorization Act.
Mm-hmm.
Within that, they put in the DEI, and we got a yes vote. We got a yes vote from our representative and this was the December of 23.
Okay.
And they put in, like I said, the DEI stuff, the funding for gender affirming care, which you can set any type of belief system aside that has nothing to do with the readiness of our military.
Right.
And I will tell you, it is actually going to be a detractor. Because now you have a person that going through this process, they're going to be completely non-deployable, probably going to be mostly useless in garrison. So now everybody else has to pick up the slack for this.
I hate that.
And we're taxpayer funding this.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, if anything happens to go wrong with that procedure, any of the process, they'll file a claim.
Yeah.
And so now the rest of their life, they will get compensation for that.
Okay.
To include, and something I hadn't really considered until a gentleman last night mentioned it, and I don't know all that much about the process, but medication for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
So now, because they started in there, and it may be a claim either way.
Yeah.
So just but like I said, we got a yes vote, and now it's like, hey, we got rid of it all. I'm like, you don't get to take credit for fixing something, a problem you created,
Yeah.
or at least be honest about it, and
Yeah.
be like, hey, okay,
Be more transparent about it for
be like,
sure.
all right, yeah, all right, I voted for it last time.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he did say he voted yes last time because of a 5% pay raise for the service, so for
Okay.
service members, which I'm good with pay raises, but not at the cost of,
Of
I
what?
mean, I can just imagine, any of my platoons or squads or organizations I was a part of, like, really? Now,
Yeah.
you got enough people, sandbagging and not pulling their weight
Yeah.
without now adding this.
I
I'm
gotcha.
like, so, yeah, so just that,
Just
I
a
can
little,
look at,
yeah.
So
Me
some
and
things
Tom
in
can
there.
talk forever and hours on this.
So, just those things in the background.
Yeah.
And then I do, that is a big question and a concern that, I have been asked, like,
Yeah.
because it's kind of a natural progression of things. Like,
Mhm.
all right. And I've been told that, hey, just, go like do, county commission or whatever. But my counter to that is, okay, it's learning a new job, which I have done over and over and over
Yes.
throughout my life. And two, how are we better now having a career politician class?
Oh,
Like,
that's true.
We're not.
We're not.
So yeah, it's just
There you
it's
go.
time for change.
I
And
love
that's what
it.
qualifies me.
So you can follow Tom on several social
Yes,
medias.
I'm
You
all
can
over the
on
joint.
Facebook,
Yep.
X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, and Getter.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
As far as I know.
We don't know, but with that said,
Yep.
you can follow him. It's at Tom Davis for Congress on Facebook, but on X, Instagram, and Getter, it's Tom Davis 104.
Yes.
And that's because we're the District 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I left off YouTube.
Oh,
And
there you go.
Tom Davis TN4 on the YouTube also.
Okay.
And I have at least 25 videos up, I think,
Okay.
just specifically for the
And
campaign.
if anybody has any questions, not
Yep.
only can they can reach you on there, but you
Yep.
also have a Gmail account.
I do have it. Yep. So that's Tom Davis TN4
Okay.
at gmail.com.
There you go.
All
Keep
right.
it simple. I love it. I love it.
And thank you, Kelly, for putting this on.
Anytime.
And it's quite the showing, and a lot
of people have
candidates
came out, and that's
yeah.
what that was the goal. Whether, and I'll say this again, if you are in the area and you want to come out and hang out with some of the candidates, you can. They're going to be here till most of them are going to be out here till 3, so you can do a little Q&A on your own. But if not, you can always message them. We're going to give you all their links later on today. And I appreciate everybody coming today.
Yeah, and like I said, I know I'm here till 3, and
yeah, we're gonna have a party later.
Yeah, well, the ice cream social. Are you going to that?
Of course.
Yeah,
Free
all
ice
right.
cream. I'm down.
Nice.
All right. Well, guys, keep it here. We got more people to come. Thanks, Tom. Okay. Isn't that how it usually goes?
Always.
Always.
Not usually, always.
All right. With us now live, and I'm so excited she could make it
Thank you.
today, is Miss Janice Bowen.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate being here. I've
Yeah.
looked forward to this since the cruise.
I know. I caught her in May, like the
Yes.
very beginning. I was like, hey, I got this idea. And I was like, what can we do? What can we do? And so I'm so glad she was actually the first person I told.
Oh, well,
So,
I'm honored. I'm
yeah,
honored.
thank
This is
you.
fun.
Well, you were speaking of the cruise, y'all rode in that nice little red little, what kind of car is that? I don't even know.
Don't ask me what kind of
I
car.
don't know cars.
I don't know cars. I drive 2003 Acura MDX.
Okay.
So that shows you that I pay no attention to cars, or I wouldn't be driving.
There you go. I only know a vehicle I drive. I don't know anybody else's.
That's right.
But with that said, for anybody, I always say that's been living under a rock, you are the incumbent. Is that how I
Yes.
say that? Because I'm just learning everything. This is my first political thing ever, so I'm learning as I go. But tell everybody who you are and what position you're in, and
Okay.
go from there.
I'm Janice Spaulding, and I'm the state senator for District 16. In the last reconstruction of our different states' boundaries and whatever within the districts, they changed Senate District 16. So we're not what we were when I first ran.
Oh, okay.
But what we are now is Coffee County, which is where I'm from. I live in Tullahoma.
Yeah.
And then they also have Franklin County, Lincoln County to that west part. Then we have Grundy County, Warren County, and DeKalb County.
Oh, wow.
So we have 6 counties. It used to be a circle with Grundy in the middle and the 6 counties around. It used to be 7.
Mhm.
Now it's 6.
Ooh.
And it's actually a funky J, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
So for Janice, I'm just going to
Oh,
pretend.
J for Janice. There you
J
go.
for Janice. And it's just a wonderful district, though, because it's still the same kind of folks. It's rural Tennessee, and it's pro-God, pro-family, pro-gun, pro-life. I mean, these people just know who they are and why they're there, and they're working people. I love it. I love
Yeah.
my Senate district.
So how long have you been in this position?
It will be 12 years
There
in
you go.
November.
Okay.
And so that will be 3 years. There's a 4-year term or 3
Okay.
terms. It's a 4-year term. And this time I had prayed and prayed and prayed about whether I should run again, and had talked to the leadership in all the
Right.
counties to say, do you all have someone that's prepared
Yeah.
to step into this? Because it's not an easy role.
Yeah.
It's something the Lord has to tell you to do,
Yeah.
or you need
It's a
to have your
calling.
head examined. It is
Yeah.
a calling. It's a service.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I prayed about it. And then in January, he looked at me and he said, Janice, when did God tell you not to run again?
Oh.
And that's what I said. I said, Timble, why didn't you ask me that question 6 months ago?
Yeah.
He hasn't told me not to run again.
Yeah.
He said in the word, when he tells us, I've shown thee, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. He didn't have to tell you that every year.
No.
He tells you that once, and
You
he
should
means,
know.
and you should know.
Yeah.
So that settled it. I felt great about
Yeah.
it then, and I've been off and running, if you will. And going to have a jingle that'll start up
Nice.
once the primary is over. I don't have any opposition to the primary, which is a blessing. There are 2 people running against me, an independent and a Democrat,
Yes.
but that won't be till November,
Right.
because right now the Democrat is in his own primary and the independent doesn't have a primary.
Correct.
And so then I'm in the Republican primary and I don't have a primary.
There you go.
So I'm a conservative. I haven't been spending a lot of money. I've
Yeah.
just been doing the things that I normally do.
And like I love how you guys and everybody here that I've talked to so far, you do more face to face. I love the face to face stuff, not the phone calls or the text
Yeah.
messages. I love how you can be involved in the community and
Yeah.
you know the communities.
Mhm.
And I think that's really big. And that's why we do events like this for
Mhm.
people to come out. But with that said, I know you got tons of qualifications, but what I would like to ask you is, what have been some benefits that you've enjoyed being in the seat? Like you're like, this is why I do what I do.
The benefits are when I'm able to help a county in an issue that they've having and been fighting over or fighting with, and all of a sudden we can find a solution. I'm very solution oriented, and I want to help the people to help themselves. I don't like big government, so when it's in there, like Grundy County, for
Right.
instance, Grundy County, excuse me, I got something on my lip. In Grundy County, they were one of the most economically depressed counties in the
That's
United
right.
States. And we got in there and started working with Grundy Countyans to help themselves. And now Grundy County is no longer an economically depressed
That's
county. It
awesome.
really
Yeah.
is. And so to be able to be part of that and to bring them up, and because it's a fantastic county
It
and
is.
they have so many things. And right now, tourism,
Mhm.
which after agriculture, tourism is the number 2 industry in the state of Tennessee.
Yes, it is.
So they're right there. And I work with the Commissioner of Tourism to make sure that he knows what's going on in all of our area, though,
Yeah.
not just in Grundy County. And then when you help people get a road that needed to be there,
Yeah.
when you help people get a personal issue solved within a state, one of the departments, it's very difficult to negotiate and navigate some of the things. And over this last 4 years, with what I affectionately refer to as the scamdemic,
Okay. Yeah. I love that.
you know,
Good title.
it really was a scamdemic, but it really did cause a lot of hardships for people.
Yeah.
And it
Trust
caused
issues.
deaths. It caused trust issues big time. And I think that we in the rural area in particular, we realized that fool me once, shame on
Mhm.
you, fool me twice,
Shame on me.
And we're not going to play that game with them
No.
anymore.
No.
And that was one of the things I really got to do too over the last 4 years, is help people fight against an overreaching state government and
Yeah.
federal government.
Yeah.
Because the federal government with Biden was saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I tried to tell the people, I said, he has no authority to do that.
Mm-mm.
So he can say everything he wants to.
Yeah.
But I could tell you everybody's got to wear purple
Yeah.
on Thursdays. And you would look at me like I was crazy
Yeah.
because I have no authority to do that.
Right.
Well, when he says something that's not within his constitutional bailiwick, then just look at him and say, bless his heart.
Yeah. That's what the Southern states
That's what the
say.
southern states say, just well, bless your heart. And then we just keep on doing what we need to do and what we know is right. And the local counties were doing that,
Yeah.
Kelly. They were working together. And during the first part of the scamdemic, the 7 counties that I had then,
Yeah.
we created a praise and prayer chain. And I got all of my county mayors,
Yeah.
and we would get on the phone periodically with each other and text message each other
About prayer.
because about a prayer needs,
Yeah.
about practical needs, and also because we were going through unnavigated territory at
Yeah.
that point. Just, well, we're doing this in my county and this seems to be working. We started that, but that's a mess. Don't
Right.
do that.
Right.
And it was just helping all of us to communicate and to not feel isolated, because I think part of what the intent of that scandemic was to make us feel isolated.
Yeah.
Isolated in our own homes,
Mhm.
isolated in our own towns, isolated in the states. Those things were terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And we just don't want that. We want to
We
be out.
don't
We
want
want to live. Feel the
Yes.
sunshine on our face.
That's
so to say.
exactly right.
But before I let you go, is there anything else you want to say? Like, I do want to make sure, is there anything on social media they can follow you on?
Not yet. It will come up after the primary.
Okay.
So I will have up my website after the primary,
August the
Janice Bowling.
1st. Yeah.
Yes. JaniceBowlingStateSenate.com. And then I'll be sending out some mailers. You'll see signs going up.
Yeah.
They're the things in the cards. I have my cards here. I'll give
Yep.
you a card.
Please do. Make
And
sure.
on the front, it's just a picture of Janice Bowling State Senate. And then on the inside, what I believe in.
Okay.
Because as I told a gentleman in Grundy County when I first ran,
Mhm.
he said, but you're a Republican. I can't vote for you. And I said, I don't mind if a Democrat votes for me if they believe in what I believe
And
in.
your values.
And I said, if you believe in these things, then you need to vote for me.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in these things, you don't want to vote for me because
Yep.
you won't like me. And we
Yep.
had a nice little conversation. And finally, I asked him after he had convinced himself a Democrat could not vote for a
Yeah.
Republican. I said, well, let me ask you one more question. Can a Democrat pray for a Republican? And he looked at me and said, yeah, I can pray for a Republican. I said, wonderful. I want you to read my card every day. I want you to pray for me every day.
Mm.
And if while you're praying, the Lord moves on you to vote for me, you better not quench the spirit.
I love
And
that.
he said, lady, I'll tell you one thing. I ain't a voting again you.
Oh,
I
there you
said,
go.
that's good. So those are the kinds of things right now as we're getting ready. It's a lot of coming to events like this.
Yes.
Thank you so much
You're
for doing
welcome.
this.
And it's like you just said, and I've reiterated this when Jeff was on here. The reason I wanted to put this on is I didn't want no debate. I wanted people to see the value of each candidate. And if the values are the same ones of yours, if you share the same values, then you know who to vote for. If you don't share the same values, then it's a no brainer,
That's
And
right.
I think that people should know the values of somebody before they vote.
Absolutely.
Values before voting.
Values before voting. And I'll close with this. I was an alderman in Tullahoma for 15
Okay.
years, and I was district director in a congressional office when we were part of the 4th Congressional District. And so I got to see that sausage being made on either side of the state.
I got you.
And then when friends asked me to run for the state office, I said, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
And I realized, though, we have to have people that understand government and what government is supposed to do and what government is not supposed to do.
Correct.
That's as important
Yeah.
as what it is that you are doing.
We got to hold the line.
We've got to hold the line. And so now I'm between and interface with both parts of this, the federal government and the state government and the local government. And you have good working relationships, honest relationships built on trust.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. We've got to work to make sure we're pro-life, pro-God, pro-gun, all of those things, freedoms that God gives us, not the government.
Yeah.
And we have to protect those. That's our
I
responsibility.
love it. Oh, thank you for coming
Thank
on my
you.
show today. And before you leave, make sure I get your card so I can have it for the
I
future.
will. I'll give it
All
to
right.
you. Thank you.
And that is Miss Janice Bowen, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stick around. We're going to have Scott Bean come up with us next to talk about, because he is the one running against Miss Bowen on August the 1st.
No.
Oh, November. Excuse me. November. That's right. All right. Now I have with me Scott Bean, like the Pinto.
That's right. That's right.
You should just make a card
It's-
like that. I mean,
I
it's
should probably
catchy,
put that on a
man.
sign.
You should, and just put pinto beans on there.
Right.
But with that said, of course, you are running against Janice
Mhm.
Bowen, and tell everybody now I don't know you from Adams, but I would love to get to know you today. So with that said, tell everybody who you are and a little bit about you, like your family, where you're from, and all that.
Originally from Winchester.
Okay.
I grew up around Broadview, Harmony, till late 80s. Well, let me say this. That's where I grew up hauling hay or
Okay,
cattle
gotcha.
and everything else.
Country boy.
Yeah, it's
It's hard work.
Plenty of blisters on my hands growing up. Moved to Lincoln County. I'm
Okay.
a Lincoln County resident now. Live down in Fayetteville. Graduated high school down there. Went back to Middle Tennessee State. Went to school there. Studied political science. So that's probably where I got my first taste of
Political
something.
stuff.
Trying to be a public servant.
Yeah.
Married, kids, and later in life lived it actually in Tullahoma.
Okay.
My oldest two children went to the Tullahoma school system. Were great experience. They loved it. I like good people. Moved back to Lincoln County now in Fayetteville, and I guess I found my wife into running for office. So
Gotcha.
she's been super supportive, and all my family been very supportive of it.
So with that said, what made you decide to run for office? Because what was the trigger that was like, I think I want to see it. Was it like something to change? Like
Well, first, let me say, commend Senator Bowling.
Yeah.
Tons of experience, has done a lot of good legislation for our
community.
state, and a pillar of the state. There's no doubt about it.
And we've had discussion. I always tell a lot of Miss Boland, I told many friends of mine, my family, I'll be 52 in September. It's time for someone from our generation to plant our cleats in the ground and start injecting ourselves into what we need moving forward. If if anything, we learn from our previous generation,
Correct.
and passing that torch sometimes is what we need to do. Now, don't get me wrong. There's the generation behind me is looking for my generation
Correct.
to help them
Yeah.
in the future.
Be the leader.
Right.
I got you.
That and it's time to have a different generation of voice and
Yeah.
mindset and stuff. Now I've been told by many people that I was probably born a generation too late.
There you go.
It's growing up working on farms and just hard work. I
Yeah.
learned a lot of life lessons from.
I gotcha. So again, for everybody that doesn't know, now, or do you live in Tullahoma now, or where do you live
in
now?
Fayetteville.
You live in Fayetteville.
Mhm.
Well,
I
you
do.
traveled a long time today.
I actually live 3 miles from the Alabama state line.
Oh, wow.
So it's round trip when I travel up to DeKalb County and Smithville, and I've met plenty of people up there, and it's been a great journey. It's approximately 250 miles.
I was gonna say, if
So-
we had an award today, you would have got the most travel,
The
the longest travel.
It's I've covered about since April about 3,000 miles.
I was gonna say, and as you're doing your campaign trail, what are you gonna be hitting up next after this today? Where else are you gonna be going that people can catch you at?
I will actually be Lincoln County is having their local election forum
Okay.
tonight at 6 o'clock. Encourage anyone from Fayetteville that might be listening to go out,
Yeah.
listen to the candidates. Very, very good people
Yeah.
running for office, and I think that's something that a lot of people may not understand, or voters may not really pay attention to.
Yeah.
Is anyone that's willing to take time to be a public servant
Yeah.
out of their day and out of their work schedule, whatever, I commend it.
Yeah.
It's just not everybody wants to take the time to do it,
Correct.
but
It may not be
It's
the
not.
funnest job at times.
no, I'm sure.
But there's a lot of, I call it
Yeah.
grunt work you got to go
That's
through.
right.
And
That's
you
right.
get that because the far,
Yeah,
you're ready to put your boots on, right?
I've when we started this campaign stuff, I'm totally self-funded.
Yeah.
So I take work out of my check every week to pay for what I need to do.
Right.
And my wife bought me 2 new pairs of shoes.
Oh,
So
God love her.
I'm
Shout
about
out
to wear
to the
one out.
wifey.
So, but it's something. I
Yeah.
think it's just
Yeah.
for something different.
Yeah.
Commend the future or the previous, administrations and everything. It's time to do something.
It's just time for a change. I get it. I totally understand.
And
So if anybody needs to follow you on any social media outlets,
Sure.
can they do that?
sure.
Where can they find you at?
Scott Bean for Tennessee State Senate District 16.
Okay.
There were a few changes in the district maps last year.
Right.
Lincoln County is now part of 16.
Okay.
And I think, don't hold me to this, but I think Marion County's out of it.
Okay.
So there was some
Change.
adjusting.
Okay. Because I know this year there was adjustments around the board on
Yes.
on all the
Right.
areas.
Yeah.
But is it just Facebook is where they can follow you?
Right now, I'm working on a web page.
And then because I think Miss Boland said this, they can vote for you coming up in the November election,
Mhm.
correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's I'm running as a nonpartisan independent. I get asked a lot. I mean, a whole lot.
Yeah.
Why I chose to run as an independent. I consider myself to be a pretty conservative guy. You don't grow up in a milk barn and not have certain values, but
Right.
I just,
Do you lean towards more conservative?
I'll be honest,
Because I mean, most farmers I know are.
they are.
Yeah.
And that my mother is a devout Republican.
Okay.
My father is a devout Democrat.
Wow.
So it makes for interesting conversations.
Okay. I was gonna say you came from both
Yeah,
sides. I love that.
But studying, I will have to say, in college when I studied political science, it took me about a year
Yeah.
to realize that the partisan system is really not good.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing it does is divide a community.
Right.
The worst thing we have is division right now.
Yeah.
And it's time for people to come together.
Yeah.
And it's,
We need
You
to
know,
raise people up, not put people
we do.
down.
Excuse me.
You're fine.
Told a gentleman the other day, I was speaking to a group and he said, well, what made you run as an independent? He remembered my grandfather. I said, well, honestly, I think conceptually it's wrong for a party to make me think I got to hate half this country.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I understand
So-
what you're saying. But if anybody needs to get in touch with you besides social media, is there an email account, any website, anything else?
It should be up by next week.
Next
My
week.
website.
Okay.
Working on it now.
Okay. And once you get that, just like I told everybody else,
Let you know.
please let me know, and so we can share it on our social
Absolutely.
media outlets.
Look forward to it.
And if there's anything we can ever help you do here at Warren First, I would love to
Hey,
help you.
Thank you very much.
You're a great
for the
guy, man.
invitation. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And anything else before I forget I didn't mention?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I'm gonna
By
leave
the
it
way,
right
this
there.
is his
This is
first
my first radio
podcast interview.
yeah.
I'm so glad it was me.
I have a friend that has a podcast out of Murfreesboro.
Uh-huh.
Kelly Holcomb used to play football
Oh,
for me.
I'm Kelly too.
Yeah.
Look at that coincidence.
We're of course a sports guy. And
Yeah.
I try to catch his, but yeah, this is my first
You did
one.
great. I want everybody give him a thumbs up later.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Scott, so much.
All right.
Okay, now with me, because I wanted to make sure I hit up everybody I could that's going to be on this upcoming ballot. I got with me the one and only my good friend Jarvis Johnson here, and he is running for a school board for District 2.
Yes.
I was about to say my district. I just found out what mine was. I'm District 8, but I'm not running for anything. But with that said, you are running against the incumbent
Bill Zach.
Bill Zeckman. And first and foremost, because I was really clueless when I talked to Jarvis about this, I was clueless about how the voting goes, because to me, I'm like, I've never seen it on my ballot pop up before. But when people go and vote, whether it's early voting or the primary, or is it going to also be in the November as well, or is it just for
No,
this?
it will be determined by August 1st.
Okay. So with that said, tell everybody about first and foremost I know who you are, but tell everybody who you are, talk about your family and what you guys do.
Okay, my name is Jarvis Johnson. Most of you know me as Officer Jarvis. I work for the Warren County Sheriff Department. I do not work for the schools. There is a misconception since I'm a school resource officer that I work for the schools, but I do not. There's nothing that the schools do that benefit me in any way financially. That's a separate entity. I'm a school resource officer, and I have been for almost 2 decades. I've been in law enforcement for 24 years. And I have the opportunity and the privilege to pour into young people's lives every day. I work in the schools. I'm actually also the captain over all the school resource officers. We have 14 in Warren County. We have 3 at the high school, 2 at the middle school, and 1 at every elementary school. And I'm the supervisor, which gives me the opportunity to float to every school, which also gives me the opportunity to talk to teachers, the administrative staff. And what we often forget is the kids. The kids know more about what's happening in the school than anyone. And by having this opportunity, I can see firsthand what's happening in the schools. No one else that's running or currently on the board has that opportunity. They don't work in the schools. I work in the schools. Now, once again, I don't work for the schools, but I work in the schools. So I see firsthand what is needed. I'm a conservative. I'm also a pastor here in Warren County. I pastor out in Rock Island area. And in addition to that, I'm also on the radio for the Voice of the Servants radio broadcast.
Yes, you are.
I have spent over 24 years serving my community, whether it's law enforcement or in the ministry. And I believe that's the most important thing we can do is pour back into our community.
Correct. And, going back to the kids, I think that's one highlight, a feature that somebody on the school board needs to know the voice of the children, because right now they can't vote. So they have to tell their parents, so by you being in there, it gives you that voice. And with that said, like, let's just say that you won the school board. Are you still going to be able to do your job that you're doing now? So you still have that communication with the children?
Absolutely. The school board meets once a month. In November, they usually meet twice because they don't meet in December.
Okay.
So that doesn't affect my day-to-day job. I'll still do my job. I'll still be boots on the ground. I'll still interact with the kids and the students. I mean, the kids, the staff, and administrative team of every school. And they know me firsthand. You can ask anybody in Warren County who Officer Jarvis is, and they know who I am.
Everybody knows you. I remember meeting you as, Officer Jarvis. And at the time, I was scared of him because you did not. But then once I got to know him, I got to him. I'm like, he is a cool dude, but at the same time, he's a guy you want on your team.
Absolutely. And being still in the school and serving on the school board, I'll have that unique perspective that no one else does. Another thing that I think I offer that no one else does is we have businessmen on the school board. There is a business side to the school board. We have former educators. There's educational part. You got to have that. But what we don't have is someone that specializes in school safety. And that's what my background's in. We need to have the safest schools because we can talk about the numbers all day long and they're not good. But you have to create an environment that the kids can learn in. And first and foremost, they have got to be safe. So that is my top priority, is to make the schools as safe as possible. I'm against radical spending. I'm for supporting the teachers. We need a voice from the parents. The parents need to be involved in this, and they need someone they can trust. And plus, once again, we've got to listen to the kids. They know firsthand.
I know. And speaking of the safety of the children, what are some of the things that you've seen throughout the years of being an officer of the security that hasn't taken much measure, if you can, that
needs to be improved upon? Well, one thing that I'm very concerned about is when we do a building project, there's something called CEPTED. It's crime prevention through environmental design. That's what it stands for. And CEPTED is a training that we go through in law enforcement. And what it is how you design a building so it looks aesthetically pleasing, but it's inherently safe. I'll give you an example. If you go to like a store in Murfreesboro, and in front of the store, you have these large planters that are several tons, but they have flowers growing out of them, but they're in front of the front door. To most people, that just looks really pretty. But it's there to prevent people from driving through the front window. So it creates safety.
And I would not have known that.
And then the building is laid out in certain ways that if someone were to come in and want to do harm, you can hide or you can evacuate.
Yeah.
And what you do is you design a building in such a way that it's inherently safe. If I'm on that board with this training, when
Yeah.
we do expansions of schools, I can look at a new classroom build and say, okay, we need multiple points of exit. We need places that kids can hide.
Yeah.
And we also have we need to build it in such a way we can barricade a door if we need
gotcha.
to. And so no one has that perspective. No one
Yeah.
has that training. And that's something I think I can offer.
And with that said, we've seen so many schools in the past few years that's been affected by, bad situations.
Right.
I'm not going to get all into it, but you always want to stay updated in these programs that you're talking about, safety and stuff. Is that a year round? Is it quarterly? Is it monthly?
I get updates almost every day. I have
Okay.
connections to.
Because that's what I was going to ask.
Right.
Because there's always something new
Right.
that pops up, like so and so got through this way.
Right.
But so you're on that all the time.
Absolutely. My connections to the sheriff department, the local police department, Homeland Security, I'm updated. I talk to these people every day.
Yeah.
So if something is happening in another county, we can go ahead and get ready for it before it happens here in Warren County.
I got you.
This is another thing that we've got to consider. There are trends that are going all over the nation, whether it's vapes, certain type of drugs,
Yeah.
fentanyl, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You need someone on that board that understands these trends so that we can combat it before it even comes
Yeah,
here.
Tide
Now, we
Pods,
do-
all that crap.
Right. We have stuff like that here in Warren County, but we're doing a pretty good job of preventing it, but I think we could do better.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so by you being on the board, you want to make it for the better, not just for the
Right.
students,
Right.
but the staff,
Right.
the families, all
Right.
in general.
I think most importantly, they need to have someone on that board they see every day
Yeah.
and that they trust.
They
You
relate
can go
to.
to any school.
Yeah.
Right now, my office is at Warren County Middle School.
Right.
You can go in that building and every single kid knows me by name.
Oh,
And they'll run up
that
and
just
fist bump. Right.
breaks your or
One
makes
of-
your heart
one of the-
happy.
One of the most blessed things I've got to do this year is in our special ed department, Miss Mary Payne. She's a
Yeah.
wonderful teacher. I've known her for years. We had a talent show, first time we've had one in
Mhm.
years. And we had a honorary position that came available for the special ed class.
Yeah.
And so what we done is we got the entire school together. The special ed class came out and they sung "You Are My Sunshine." And then I
Oh,
got to come out as a special guest with my guitar.
yeah.
And I played with the kids, and before it's over with, the entire school was singing in one
Oh.
accord that song. It created a family environment.
Yeah.
We need leaders like that
Yeah.
that can interact with the kids that
And
the
bring
kids can
everybody
trust.
together.
The teachers can trust, the administrative
Yeah.
staff can trust. And if we have someone like that on the board, then I can bring issues up that they come tell me
Yeah.
directly. Because sometimes if they
I
don't know
know.
who their school board member is, or if they're never in the building, they don't know who
They
to
don't
talk
know.
to.
I know. I
Mhm.
totally agree. So with that said, before I let you go, because I know everybody's busy today, but if anybody needs to follow you or have any questions for you, how can they find you? You got social media.
I have social media, Facebook. It's Jarvis for District 2 School Boards. You can go there. You can see everything I stand for. I just believe in conservative
Yeah.
Christian values and being the voice for those that don't often get heard. So
I agree. And if anybody is there going to be another event you're going to be going to after
yes,
this?
if everybody can come out tonight from 5 to 7,
Okay.
we're going to have an ice cream social at the farmer's market.
Market.
You'll get to meet me face to face.
Yeah, free ice cream, y'all. I'm going to take up on that. But again, thank you for coming
Thank you
out.
for
I
having me.
appreciate you. And if there's anything we can do for you here at Warren First, like I've been telling everybody else, please let me know.
All right.
I'm
Thank you.
always here.
Nice to see everyone. Have a good day.
And we will be right back. We got some more people coming up. and we will get going. Okay, everybody, with me now, I am privileged to be hanging out with Mr. Paul Sherrill. He is our Tennessee State Representative for the 43rd District. He is
Yes, ma'am.
the incumbent.
Yes.
And so, with it said, for anybody that doesn't know who you are, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am State Representative Paul Sherrill. I represent the 43rd District, which is all of Warren County and all of White County. With me today is my wife, Miranda, out in the audience. And
Shout
just
out to
wanna-
the wife.
yeah, and we definitely want to say thank you to Miss Kelly for this
Oh,
opportunity
thank you.
to do this today. I think it is very important
Yes.
to try to get the information out to our constituents out in the district in the White and Warren County, and we do appreciate your opportunity. You know, we're very much blessed to be in this position. First of all, I do want to praise God and thank God that He's blessed me so much to have this opportunity to serve as the 43rd District in the Warren and White County, and we always hopefully try to reach out to our constituents
Yeah.
as they call either at the office in Nashville or if they call it home. And I will give my phone number to either place here in just a little bit, but a great opportunity. We're just honored to serve.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're always hoping that we can do good for our people in the district in Warren and White County and for the great state of Tennessee. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for
You're
this
welcome.
opportunity.
Anytime. And like I said, guys, the reason we are doing this is so you can meet each candidate, whether they're the incumbent or people that are running against. Because if Paul Sherrill has your values that you like it, that you think is 100% that you want to do, if they share, like I say, if they share the same values, then that's who we need to vote for. People that share our values. I say values before voting, but we still need to vote. But if there's something that is not in your values, this is where people need to come out and start talking to them now. So we're going to be out here till 3:00 today. So please make sure to come out and check everybody out. We're at the detention at the elementary till 3:00 today. And Mr. Sherrill's here, as well as Scott Bean, Janice Boland. We got Tim Lewis. We got Miss Beth is out here, Miss Martin. We got everybody out here, like Robert McCormick, and I'm thinking, and Tom Davis. But with that said, this has been your position for how long now?
Well, the good Lord blessed me to be elected in 2016, the
Okay.
first time. And at that time, the district was all of Grundy County.
I was going to say, yeah, it
And
changes.
it changed, and all of White and about 2/3 of Warren.
Okay.
At that time, we didn't have Morrison and didn't have Vile.
Right.
And we had a little part of Centertown. So that was the 43rd District. And then when we had the redistricting 2 years ago,
Yeah.
it changed it where now it's all Warren and all White,
White.
and Grundy's in a different district now. So in 2016, as we was blessed from the good Lord to be elected, and then we run again in 2018 and then 2020 and 2022. So we're here again in 2024,
Yeah.
running in the primary for state representative in the 43rd District again.
Right.
So-
And speaking of voting, it is happening. Early voting starts on July the 12th. And here in our Warren County area and across the board. But the last week of the voting, which will be leading into the 27th, you have two other places you can vote for. But starting tomorrow, you can go to the administrative building and do our early voting here in the Warren County area. But with that said, Mr. Sherrill, you've been in the position, like you said, since 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
And what keeps you motivated to keep, like I was just talking to Miss Boland, and she's like, she was wondering if she was going to rerun again. Has that ever crossed your mind, or is that just, have you just enjoyed being a service to the community that you just keep doing what you're doing?
Well, I go back to my beginning of 2016, which I believe in my heart, this is what God wants me to be doing in my time of life. So,
Yeah.
And I get that. I keep getting that encouragement from people to hang in there.
Yeah.
They know what I stand for.
Yeah.
And I try to listen to my people back home in the district, what they want.
Yes.
When I go to Nashville to represent the people in the 43rd District, I know how I believe. I know what I stand for.
Yeah.
We try our best to look at things and vote on things that is hopefully conservative.
Right.
If you want to say on the Christian values, different things like that we look at, to try to bring things back to our district. And we've been very blessed to try to bring things back. And I believe we've tried to accomplish things. And there is so many more other things that we need to do and accomplish back here in the district. But, it just takes time. It don't happen overnight.
No.
The state of Tennessee don't work on our time.
No.
They work on their time.
Right.
It's just like the federal government works on their time.
Correct.
So, it just takes time.
And with that said, some of the stuff, if you can talk about it, what are some of the stuff that as you've been in office, that you feel like you have accomplished that has just made, the positive things of why you do what you do?
Okay, good. I'm glad you asked that because in my first time of being elected, and as people can see out here in the audience, I carried a bill that would to help our volunteer rescue
You want me to
squad.
hold that so you don't? Yeah, I can hold it for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is to help our volunteer rescue squad folks and to help our volunteer fire departments with a license plate that they can get without any cost.
Yeah.
Now they still have to pay the wheel tax, but they don't have to pay the state part. So that helps a lot of our people that it's out here working for us that don't get paid nothing for all the work they do.
Yeah.
And they spend a lot of their time and a lot of their
volunteering,
money. Yeah. I mean, nobody don't pay for their gas. If they go and fight our fires, or the rescue squad goes and tries to help people that it's out there. Maybe they got lost, or maybe someone gets in the water and they drown. Our rescue squad people go get them people. They've got a great responsibility to do what they do for us. But we live in the great state of Tennessee, and we know Tennessee is our volunteer state. Right?
Correct.
So they volunteer their time to go out and do for us. And we can't say enough to say to our people in the great state of Tennessee, thank you to our volunteer fire department guys and women, and to our volunteer rescue squad people. We thank you very much for what you've done for us and do for us in the great state of Tennessee. So, and we just want to make sure that hopefully as time goes along that we try to do more to help these people. And really what helped to get this through was back when Governor Haslam was in office. To get this through was when they had the big fires up in Gatlinburg, Smoky Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Dolly Parton helped clean that up too. I remember.
So that helped to get this through because a lot of these people went up there and fought them fires and rescued people when that happened. So that was something that Governor Haslam helped to get through at that time. So that's just, that's just one thing that we've done, which is just a little bit for each person.
Right.
But across the state of Tennessee, it covers a lot of people. So I'm very thankful for that right there. So, and we've tried to work hard. I did serve on criminal justice.
I was going to ask you, have you served on any boards?
Serve on criminal justice, and now I'm on transportation and health. I was on some other committees, but now I'm on transportation and health. So, serving on criminal justice is something that's very serious in our society today because we have crime. We're blessed here in Warren County and White County to not have the crime that maybe they have in Nashville or Memphis or some places like that, but we still got to take care of our law enforcement. So I'm just going to share with you this past session. We had a bill that come through to help our law enforcement. If you want to be mean to a law enforcement officer or be cruel to them and not respect them, well, it was a misdemeanor. Now it's a felony.
Oh, wow.
So you don't be hitting on our law enforcement. We got to protect them. You shouldn't. So, we all get pulled over and we got to respect them people. They're doing their job.
Correct.
And we just got to respect them people,
Yeah.
so what they do
You
for
know,
us.
and speaking of that, my husband, we have a farmer, farm vehicle,
Yeah.
and most of the license plates are on the front,
Yeah.
not the back.
Right.
And we get pulled over all the time.
Well,
And we're like, hey, and so finally over the weekend, we decided we need to have a license plate on the back that says farm truck or something. And that can also, I want to say that in what you're saying, can help out the law enforcement instead of pulling somebody over that's not speeding.
Yeah.
That can give them a little help, in a way.
I used to be a city police officer in Sparta for about 10 and a half years.
Okay.
So if the law hasn't changed, I believe it is if it's 3/4 ton and above, the license plate can be on the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right.
And then if, of course, he's talking about law enforcement officers, they might pull you over because they can't see no license plate. But I think it's a law if it's 3/4 ton and above, that the license plate goes on the front.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do got to take care of our farmers
We
too.
do. We have to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff that you got coming up, that is there any law coming up that you're working on, a project, I should say, that's coming up that you want to see through?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Because here is a problem that we're having.
Okay.
And we got to have our state troopers.
Yeah.
We got good state troopers and they protect us. We're blessed to have them.
We do.
And they got a good raise. Okay.
Mhm.
They get paid good, but they have a dangerous job.
They do.
So here's the problem with that. A lot of our cities and our county departments, people are leaving and going to the state because they make more money.
Oh, okay.
So now we've got to come up with something to take care of our local city and county officers. So I've been talking to some people in Nashville to see if there's some kind of legislation that we can hopefully work on to try to get more money into the pockets of our city and county law enforcement officers to try to make up for that loss where they're losing people going to the state. So that's something working on.
And that's like if being reelected in your position, that's something you want to see through.
Yes.
100%.
I've been talking to some people in Nashville and hope and pray we get reelected in the 1st of August. And that's something we're going to jump on top of.
And if anybody needs to, if you couldn't come out today, I know that you're probably going to be going to the ice cream social leader.
Yes.
That's going to be again at the farmers market tonight from 5 to 7.
Right.
And but is there going to be any other event after today and this evening you're going to be at that people can catch you at? I know that you come to the Main Street Live events all the time.
Yes.
But any other areas? Because, besides communicating on social media and the phone, it's like, where else will you be?
Well, we try to be at different functions that people invite us to, just like you invited us today.
Yeah.
And when you invite us or anybody else invites us, we try our best, if we're notified, to be at these places that people ask us to be at, to try to be a part of it, let people know that we're out here in the campaign field and working hard. We'll try to earn people's vote.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what all's ahead of us. My wife is very good about trying to keep our calendar to where we got to be in Nashville or to be in the district where it's White County or Warren County. So we just sort of, she will know more about it than I do.
Gotcha. But as far as social media goes, they can follow you on Facebook.
Yes.
And if they need to get in touch with you, is there a phone number you said earlier that they can call you as well?
Yes, ma'am. Our home number, I'll give it to you, is 931-935-8488. We are in the phone book.
Okay.
And then the Nashville number at the office is 615-741-1963.
There you go.
So.
And just make sure, correct me if I'm wrong on this. So when early voting starts, and of the primaries on August 1st.
Right.
So if you win, do you move up to November? How does that work?
Have to run again in November.
Okay. You'll have to rerun again in November.
Yeah.
Okay. because
So-
I needed to know that just in case anybody wanted to know.
No,
In
right.
case like something happens, whether it happens or doesn't, they'll see your name again back in November
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
final vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Well, again, thank you for this opportunity today, and
Anytime.
to our folks out here in the audience that listening, ever how they are. We definitely want to ask for your prayers, support, and vote. And if we can help you in some way, feel free to call them numbers that we give to you. Reach out, and we'll try to help you. There's sometimes we can help,
Yep.
sometimes we can't help. But anyway, if we can help you, let us know. And again, thank you, Miss Kelly, for the
Anytime,
opportunity.
Mr. Sherrill.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And again, this is Paul Sherrill. He is our current Tennessee State Representative
Thank you.
for the 43rd District. That is the Warren and White counties.
Yes.
So again, stick around, guys, because we got some more people that are coming up, like Robert McCormick and Tim Lewis are coming up next. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready. I feel like I'm on a radio station.
That's the point. All right, guys. With me now is running or the opposed side against the incumbent Paul Sherrill. We got Robert McCormick running
Hello, everyone.
for the 43rd District Tennessee State Representative. And with that said, for anybody that doesn't know Robert McCormick, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You know, your family, where you live, where you're from.
I live in White County. I've been a longtime business owner. I've got a heating and air conditioning service business. I didn't exactly grow up in White County totally, but my dad was in the Air Force. So we spent time. I went to school in Guam. I went to school in Edwards Air Force Base in California. I went to school in Langley, Virginia, just all over. And then when he retired, we moved back to Sparta, White County.
Yeah.
And that's where we've been, ever since.
Ever since.
Yeah.
And how long has your business, because your dad started the air conditioning
did.
business, correct?
My dad, he actually, when he retired out of the military, he went to VOTEC school here in Warren County. That's what they called it back then. Now they call it TCAT.
Yeah.
And And so he learned the trade there. And then after he got out, he actually went to work he worked here at Zurich also.
Yeah.
And then he went to school extra.
Yeah.
So when he got out of school, he started a little business going, working on coolers. There were a lot of stores. They worked on their coolers. There was milk barns, dairy farms, and all that kind of thing. And then he actually took a teaching job at Warren County High School.
Oh, wow.
For a short time. He taught air conditioning refrigeration there. And
I miss those days.
yeah.
Teaching us the simple things in life.
But he found out real quick that some of those children weren't there. They weren't all there to learn. Some of them were there to torment him. So
So he got out.
so he being a military guy, he didn't put up no monkey business. So,
I love it. As
so-
he shouldn't.
right. So it's I think it's a little bit harder now to be a teacher.
Oh, yes. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And me and you've talked about this on and off air several times already, but tell everybody, what made you decide to be in this position? Because you have been working at this for over a year now, really.
That's right. When my wife and I spoke about a year and a half ago, and we talked about it, and things felt right, and so we didn't want to just show up last minute, as a politician trying to get everybody's vote. So we started learning. We came here, we joined the chamber, we joined Main Street, we got to knowing people. I already had some customers over here, nursery owners, business owners. So that gave us a good start. So we started getting out visiting people, different communities. And it's amazing how many communities here in Warren County.
Yes, the different circles, as I say.
Yes. So it's a beautiful county. I always love driving around in it with I love seeing all the nurseries and all the trees lined up and the shrubs and all that kind of thing. So,
And you and Yvette, your wife, you guys are also a part of the Main Street McMinnville stuff.
We fell in love with Main Street, and so we found out there was an organization, Main Street.
Yeah.
And so we joined it. We actually went to the farm to table, supported it. It was a great event they have here. And so we help out also at Main Street Live every Friday night.
Every Friday. And it's still going on, by the way.
Still going on. And that's a huge amount of people there. And we've gotten to know a lot of people, learn their names and their faces. And so we're just hang out and have fun. It's a great, great thing. And, we really enjoy it.
Yeah. And, not just the Warren County stuff that you've been a part of. Robert, tell everybody, because, this didn't just come up overnight, and the qualifications you have for this is immaculate, because you're on boards in the Sparta area as well in White County, correct?
Yes. I started out on 911, and I've been on that board for about 12 years now. I served as chairman for 6 years.
Yeah.
And, you learn a lot of things, meet a lot of people. I then became a county commissioner. I'm on my second term, 6 years into county commissioner. And, with that, I've learned a lot about government, the good things and the bad things.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's right. That's right. So that's given me a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And then, from that, I've served on the Tri-County Railroad Authority. We manage the short line from Tullahoma all the way down to Sparta.
I was going to say, yeah.
And Bridgestone's one of the biggest customers here. And then McNeil Steel, which is coming in now, we helped work with Appalachian Region Commission and secured almost $1 million grant to put the rail system in there at McNeil Steel, which will be a big bonus here for Warren County. Also, I work with the foster children. I serve on the foster care review board under Judge Meadows, and that's Van Buren County and White County mainly.
Okay. And what does the fostering board do?
Well, what we do is we keep track of the children and try to make sure they don't fall through the cracks. Make sure they're getting the help they need.
Yeah.
Their parents are, most of them are drug-related incidents where they've had to remove the children. We've got close to, in Warren and White County, there's right at 200 children in state custody.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It is.
But, we don't make any binding decisions, but we do make suggestions to the judge as to if the parents are trying or if they don't try hard enough to get
Yeah.
off drugs and straighten their life out. We try to find these kids, these children, and some of them are teenagers,
Yeah.
try to make sure they're getting into a loving household, to get a future
Yeah.
going and not be
To
stuck in
stop the
limbo.
cycle.
Stop the cycle. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As I say.
And, of course, I've been a long time board member on the upcoming Home Builders Association.
That's right.
I served 2 years as president of that.
Yeah.
And, so I've got a broad understanding of the community.
Yeah. And with that said, with all these qualifications, how are you going to implement that if you become the next Tennessee State representative for the 43rd district? What are you hoping to implement in the years to come?
Well, one thing, the biggest problem I've heard that we have here is drugs, and the drugs lead to crime.
Yeah.
And so, like I said the other night in the debate, Judge Moore and I spoke numerous times
Yeah.
about ways to help change the revolving door.
Yes.
And everybody, we all see it. They're arrested one day, and 2 days later, they're back out on the street.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest issue that we spoke about.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't come into this with any agendas. But I do think that Warren County's not getting the representation they actually need.
Yeah.
So I'm here to make myself accessible. Everybody, I give my personal cell phone number to, which is 931-261-8946. And then you can look me up on robertmccormicktn.com or on Facebook. It's Robert McCormick TN. So then check me out. Look me out.
Yeah. And I know, just like most of the Republicans are here, are they going to be able to, if you couldn't make it out today, are you going to be out at the farmers market as well after this?
After a while, I'll be at the farmers market there. We've got an ice cream social. Be a good little event right there at the farmers market. Glad to somebody can make it out. Yeah, come on out.
Yeah. And it's going to be from 5 to 7.
5 to 7. That's correct.
And the ice cream is for free. As I've been telling her,
that's
free
right.
ice cream.
All of us candidates are sponsoring the ice cream. So we went in together on it. So
That's awesome. And anything else before I forget to mention that you want to say to anybody before I have to let you go?
Well, you were asking about issues.
Yes.
But the thing I'm a conservative Christian Republican.
Yeah.
And all the decisions I make will be along those lines.
Yeah.
Conservative Christian values.
I got you.
And like my slogan, working to make your life better. And I want to take Warren and White County to Nashville. So not bring Nashville's problems here.
Yeah.
So
I got you. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. But with that said, once again, before I let you go, tell everybody your number one more time.
My cell phone number is 931-261-8946. And then you can look up robertmccormicktn.com. There's our Facebook page. Check it. Our website. Check it out. There's a lot on it. And then, of course, on Facebook, Robert McCormick TN.
And do you have any other events besides today and tonight that you're going to be having? Because I hated that I missed both fish fry opportunities.
I know we had some good fish
and
fries.
I heard the fish was amazing.
It is. Everybody just raves on the fish.
Yeah.
Cook.
I'm just going to come to y'all's house and eat. That's what I love, a good catfish. But again, thank you for coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody once again at the ice cream social at the farmers market.
Yes.
And again, guys, we got one more person, I think, left on my before we talk a little bit briefly about happenings going on in Warren County. But Tim Lewis, yes, is going to be coming up next as well. That is also running for the same position as well. But thank you again for coming on the show.
All right.
All right, guys, hold it together. We will be back on the show in just a few seconds. All right, guys, we are getting almost to the tail end of our Shake and Howdy 2024. But I always save the best for last. So with us, we have Tim Lewis with us. He is running against the incumbent Paul Sherrill for the Tennessee State for the 43rd District. And so, hello, Tim.
How are you?
I am great. Just make sure that mic's right
Sorry.
there. No, you're all right. But with that said, for anybody that doesn't know who Tim Lewis is, tell everybody about you.
Well, my name is Tim Lewis. I've lived in Warren County now for about 24 years. I love the area. I would never move away.
Yeah,
It's become home.
yeah.
And I just feel like the citizens of this district haven't been well represented the last few terms, and I'd really like to change that.
Yeah, like take your stab at it, as I say,
Yeah.
But with that said, what motivated you, or what made you decide to do this? I mean, you kind of like, what kind of changes are you wanting to see?
Well, I'm really wanting to see real conservative bills be passed in the Senate and in the House. We've got Janice Bowling that's working really well for us.
Yeah.
I love her to death.
Yeah.
And I just want to go up there and try to help her pass real conservative legislation for the people of Warren and White County.
I love it. And, and for everybody that doesn't know what that position is, what makes you qualified for that position?
Well, I think it's one of those things where I don't believe you're qualified for anything, right off the bat. You got to prove yourself. That's all I'm asking for. It's just the chance to prove myself. It's being a politician is something I never thought I'd really do.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if I'm not going to put myself out there to make a change,
Yeah.
how could I expect anybody else to?
Right. I always say, when you're on the chair committee and the chairs have to go out every Sunday, if you don't like how the chairs are done, well, then instead of talking about it, you need
Just
to be
do
a
it.
part of it.
Right.
I totally 100% agree. So like you were saying, some of the misrepresentation, can you talk about some of those? Like that you want to bring to light?
Well, I believe that we had two bills pass about illegal immigration just this last year.
Yeah.
But they were both reactionary bills. I don't think they really done anything to stop illegal immigration into the state.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a little too late, too little too late.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. And then, for everybody that's out there, what are your values as what is Tim Lewis's values? Because that's the whole reason I put this together is because, I want the people to know what you want and how you want it. Like, how conservative are you? All that.
I do consider myself to be extremely conservative. I believe that I'm here because of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do anything that I didn't ask him about first.
Yeah.
You got to be on your knees in prayer every day. And I believe that he's led me to do this, and that's the reason why I'm here. I personally work a 40-hour week job. Just a regular guy, blue collar.
Yeah.
Never really thought of anything about being a politician, but I just feel like I've been led to this.
Awesome. I love that. So if anybody out there that wants to follow you, how can they do that?
Well, I don't have a website. I'm keeping everything low key. I don't have any corporate donors, which is something that I'm also against. I will not accept any corporate money. I only want to accept, help from people in my county.
Yeah.
That really want to
From
see
your community. Yeah.
That really want to see, change happen.
I love that. So can they follow you on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am. Facebook, Tim Lewis Tim Lewis for TN representative.
Okay.
And that's my campaign page. You should be able to find it, no problem.
And other than today's event that you're going to be at, are you going to be also at the event at the farmers market today?
I will be. If anybody wants to come out and ask me any questions, or if they just want to come out and meet, that's perfect. I'll be out at the ice cream social at the farmers market.
I love it. And before I let you go, Tim,
Sure.
Is there anything you want to tell everybody before I let you go that I may not have asked?
Just that, well, no, I think you've covered pretty much everything. I'm just out here trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
And with the community and with the help that I've received, just recently. And from everybody that I've talked to, I've gotten really good feedback that they want challengers. They want people to get out and run.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm here.
I love it. All right, guys. So this is Tim Lewis. He is running for Tennessee State Representative, the 43rd District for Warren and White counties.
Yes.
So if you want, again, early voting is going to be starting tomorrow, actually,
It is.
at the administrative office here in our Warren County area. I don't know. I'm going to assume probably the administrative building in White County as well, but I don't know how they run.
Right.
But as far as Warren County goes, you're going to be able to start voting starting tomorrow. And don't forget that on Mondays, they open up later, like at 11 o'clock, I believe what Susie said, because they stay open late to almost 8 o'clock that night. And I think that's the only night they do it is on Monday nights. But don't count me on that, but you can always call them on about that. And then, of course, the last week, leading into early voting for the election, you can go to not just the administrative office that's in Warren County, but they're going to also open up. The Morrison Ruatan for voting, as well as the Centertown CIC area for voting in those areas. And if you have any question about absentee voting or any of that, you can always call Susie Davenport at the election committee office. She will help you out and to figure out and to get all that information fixed. And she also did say, just to reiterate with what she said, is if you have changed addresses and you don't know what your district is, early voting is a great time to go get that information changed. And it's just really simple and really easy. And if you haven't got on Go Vote TN, it's an app. You can actually register to vote on the app as well. If you don't want to do it in person, you can do it right through your phone. It's going to notify you, your district, notify you on early voting, everything. But with that said, thank you so much again, Tim, for coming on the show. And I hope you enjoyed today.
I did.
Has it been really good?
It's been great. I enjoy meeting all the other candidates too.
Yeah.
So it's been
And
a
that's
really
what I
fun event.
wanted it for, just everybody to be all happy and, just all go lucky. But with that said, sit tight. We got just a couple more things I want to make announcements with. I got Melody Krim coming up that has some stuff coming up, but stick around. I got just a couple more guests that's not candidate related that I need to get out there before I forget. Thanks again, Tim.
Thank you.
Hold on, son. Okay, guys, before we call it a day here at Warren First 931, I want to say thanks again to everybody. I mean, Melody, you've been out there chatting more than
But yeah,
equally, I should say, because I've been
you've
up
been
here.
chatting up here. I've been chatting out there.
But as far as the people that came today, it was
Oh,
a
it was
huge.
incredible.
So I said to somebody today, they're like, "So how many people are you hoping for?" I said, if one shows up, it's a success because it's the first year we've done
Right.
this.
Well, and most of the people I've talked to, I think this party's moving down the road to the ice cream social. So
Yeah.
if you saw somebody live on this air and you're like, dang, I really wanted to get to know them, come on down.
Yeah, and it's going to be at the farmers market from 5 to 7 o'clock tonight, and enjoy some free ice cream courtesy of the candidates there. That's
Yeah.
going to be showing up. But with that said, I wanted to get this out there because we have been following this story since the beginning.
Yes.
And so Miss Krim was as our news correspondent reporting. She was at court this morning
I
for general
was.
sessions.
Boy, that was a madhouse.
Yeah,
It was so busy in there.
I
God
applaud
bless our
Judge Ryan-
judges.
Yeah, I applaud Judge Ryan J. Moore.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
He is incredible. And I tell you, I kind of
And he also showed up to my event. Shout out to Ryan.
right. Look, I've been in Bart's court, I've been in Ryan's court, and I kind of want to just pop some popcorn and go watch the show sometimes. 'Cause
right.
it's like it's a live version of the Tennessee Chatterbait.
I love it. I love
It
it.
really is.
But with that said, one of the stories that we've been close with is, of course, the animal cruelty with the Stanton case.
Yes.
And last time we talked about it, it was postponed to today's date. And
Correct.
now what is going on?
So they went up today. They have waived the preliminary hearing.
Right.
And so now the case has been binded to the grand jury. And I spoke to Ryan while he was here, and he said that those are typically done in August. I don't have a date as of right now, but I'm going to stay on top of that, and I will be back in court to kind of see what's happening with that.
Okay.
And again, I know this is a slow process, and that's the biggest thing I've heard complaints about with this whole case is people say, well, they were filing complaints for over a year, and why did it take so long? Well, because the wheels of justice are slow moving. They have to make sure all their T's are crossed, all their I's are dotted.
Yeah.
You can't just rush into something like this. It can't just be you make a phone call and say, my neighbor's over there beating on his dog, and the sheriff just goes in guns blazing.
Right. I was about to say, well, Kelly Walker Slaughter says it's happening, so that's true. So let's lock this up.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah. Because I mean, people file false charges. You get your feelings a little hurt, and you think that's the best way to do it. They had to make sure it was a legitimate claim, and this was a multi agency situation. They had to get everybody on the right track. They are on the same page. They had to make sure everybody was working together, and that they did this right to make sure the charge is stuck. I mean, it's just not something that you can rush, and it's hard. I mean, I know I'm an impatient person. You want things done, but we just have to be patient. And we just, I really do firmly believe that we have got, like I've said before, we've got the right people in the right offices. We've got the right DA. We've got the right judges. Our police officers have done an incredible job.
All of them, state troopers, we have a great justice system.
We do
as a whole.
We do. I mean, and
We're
the
so
charges
blessed.
have been filed, and that's a huge right step in the right direction. And hopefully, they will get a lifetime ban on their animals. Now, I cannot confirm this, but my understanding is that Tennessee is either the only state or one of the few states that does not have an automatic lifetime ban when there is an animal cruelty conviction.
Okay.
And I have spoken to several of our candidates about that law, and they are all very concerned about that. And that is definitely something that they want changed and that they will be looking into, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Because, if you're hurting an animal, it's only going to lead them to one place, and that's not a good place.
It's not. It's definitely not.
But I will say this. I can confirm this. They thankfully have already signed over the rights to the animals.
Okay.
So the animals are already finding new homes. They're going to new places. So that is a good thing, because if these animals surrendered, that's my word. If these animals are not surrendered when there is a case like this, then the county has to house them, or whoever. They have to be fed, they have to be taken care of, and they end up living in a shelter for however long until
cases, I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly. So at least they were willing to surrender these animals over, and they're able to get a better life. And hopefully this stops from happening again in the future. I think it's a hoarding situation, and he was going to auctions and just buying up all these horses, and then just couldn't keep up with the demand.
Yeah.
And
his heart might be big, but it was just,
you have to
you
know
got
when
to
you're
know
over your
how
head.
to, yeah.
Yep.
I 100% agree.
So,
but with that said, just like she was saying, to reiterate, is now that the positive thing is that the animals are being taken care of, and now they can find either forever homes or permanent foster facilities that can be better care.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm grateful that they did that, because that normally is something that does have to go through the courts, and that can be a long time. I know that there was a case of dogs, and I think they were in the shelter for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and just waiting, and that's not fair to the animals, and that should be tacked onto the. In my opinion,
Yeah.
that should be tacked on too. That should be also counted as animal cruelty. If you're not even going to surrender the animals,
Right.
and you're going to continue to let them suffer, then that's not okay.
It's not okay. But with that said, we're going to follow this story very closely, like we
Yes.
have been. And when we get more details on it, we're going to let you guys know. And it's just like I'm going to take what Susie Davenport says. Patience is a virtue, and she rather have, what did she say? She said she don't want to rush things.
Right.
She wants to get things accurately done
Exactly.
before saying the stuff, because it's now it needs to be done.
Right. And that is a common mistake. I mean, with any news story, they want to get the story out there. They want to get rushed. They want to rush. They want to make sure they get the story out first, and they end up giving false information. And then years later, that same false information is still circulating because the record's never been set straight. And I know that that's one thing I love working with you, is that we're trying not to do that.
Yeah.
We're trying to make sure we've got the facts before we say anything. So, I mean, again, patience. If you see that we're not reporting on something,
please let us know.
We know.
We know about it.
Yes, we're just trying to make sure we've got all the facts straight before we come to you, because we don't want to give any misleading information.
And with that said, if you're not following us, or you want to stay in the know with what we are doing here at Warren First 931, you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, as well as you can join our text club on top of that as well by texting the keyword Warren First to 931-305-0869. We also have an amazing, this is not just us two. We have an amazing group of women that
powerhouse.
Yes, we do. And shout out to Sheila Fan and Amanda Dusniak and Melissa Telefero.
Sheila was here earlier briefly.
She was.
I mean, it was like a unicorn sighting. We thought we saw her, and then she disappeared, but I'm pretty sure she was here.
She was here for a minute, but we have, by her joining our team, we have created what we now call the local voice.
Yes.
You can get that at almost 20 or over 20 locations now with the hard copy. But if you are wanting a digital copy sent to you, just like this morning, I got to give a shout out to our city administrator, Nolan Ming. He sent the local first. You text the keyword local first to that phone number on the screen right here where I'm pointing to. Boom. See, I'm going to get it eventually right here. We will
fingers everywhere.
Yeah, fingers everywhere. We will send you a digital copy through your email, and it's that simple, it's that easy. And Melody can back me up when I say this. If there is something that is important to you, it is important to us, and we need to know about it. And the other reason why I have all these women help me is my algorithm might be different from Melody's and everybody else's, because I don't see everything and she doesn't see what I see. Because there's times she's like, Kelly, have you seen da 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 da? And I'm like, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I got you, girl. I got you.
Well, it was like when you were on vacation. That's when the news story with the animal control broke.
That's correct.
I started getting phone calls at 9:30 at night, and I'm like, oh, she's on vacation. What do I do? I was like, what do I do?
I know.
And so I started making a few executive decisions, which ended up being the right one. But I mean, it started at 9:30 that night with people calling me going, what's happening? What's really going on? And I was like, I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it. Give me about 30 minutes. And I did get to the bottom of it. I was able to get a hold of our commissioners and say what happened.
And we have a great group of commissioners right now as well.
Yes. And our county executive, he's on top of things. Yeah. We are so blessed to have him.
And he's here today too.
He is. He's wonderful.
Shout out to Terry Bell.
He's smiling. There he goes. Yeah. But yeah, and then the phone call started again at 4:00 this morning. I'm like, guys, I'm working on it. Trying to get a hold of Kelly.
We're getting there. But yeah, I
love that people call me and know that they can come to me and find out. And that's the same thing with you. And then she and I just put our brains together and try to get the word out as quickly as possible.
That's why you're my content strategist, always, 100%. But before I let all of us go, come here, Walk. Come here.
Yay!
So Walker wanted to say something before we let everybody go. Go ahead, son.
So,
because this is a family-run, operated system.
Yes.
I consider Melody family, everybody that's on my team.
That later.
Yeah. But what are you going to tell everybody before we let them go?
I'm thinking that everybody's wondering how we do this.
Yeah.
So this is sometimes when like Melody and all the others are like out of town or somewhere, because I know you're everywhere. You're literally all around the earth. Like if if I'm in like Europe, you're gonna be like in Europe at a store just getting biscuits and stuff.
He's got me pegged.
Yeah. But with it said, continue.
When they're doing that, my mom and me, we go on your computer and then I help her edit the newsletters and then she prints them out on her little printer.
And shout out to the Teacher Center for also helping me make the massive printouts. We love you. We would not know what to do without our Teacher Center.
Yes. And when we're all together and we're on like Main Street Live Friday, that's coming up and that's tomorrow. I hope we see you tomorrow. And so I do camera crew. I'm a camera.
Yeah, I can't do this without all my friends, all my family.
I won't be there tomorrow night, Walker. I know. I got to go pick up my kid from camp.
See, she's everywhere.
So, yeah, but tomorrow, speaking of Main Street Live tomorrow, it is going to be a bluegrass band. I cannot think of the name.
Center Hill Ramblers.
Thank you. See,
this
is why we
since we're talking about this, it's Center Hill Ramblers. Next week is Forever Abbey Road, and then the following week is our last show. It is Utopia, but it's also we're combining with our Back to School Bash. So bring the kids out because they've got the balloon guy coming out. I think there might be bounce houses. Don't hold me to that. But they're gathering school supplies, but they're gathering underwear and socks.
Okay.
And they're asking people to please donate that because so many other churches and places like that are on top of it when it comes to backpacks, pencils, glue, things like that are on the school supply list. But what the kids aren't getting is underwear and socks. So they're asking people to please, if you can, bring a pack of that.
So
that's our last week. That's the third week.
Yeah.
But that is a huge thing for the kids. So definitely put that on your calendar. Bring the kids out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is.
yeah.
And with that said, we're going to do our slogan. What do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember.
You want to say it? You want to end it?
Now remember, Warren County, keep it first.
Bye, guys.